Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
A community heartbroken. 4 lives now lost in the horrific shooting at Oxford High School.
Most single, gut-wrenching experience of my life.
The prosecutor now charging a 15-year-old as an adult with murder and terrorism.
This has touched all of us so deeply as a community and on a personal level, as we look at our own families and imagine the unthinkable hitting home.
And now the sheriff has confirmed the parents of the suspect met with school officials the morning of the shooting.
There are multiple breaking developments happening here at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, all as the community works to come to grips with what has happened.
Let's get you caught up with what we know as of this moment. The suspect has been charged now as an adult. More on that in just a moment. That comes as heartbroken friends and family members are sharing memories and details of the lives that were lost yesterday. We're also getting a better sense of what happened during those frantic moments inside Oxford High School.
The suspect in the shooting, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley, appeared in court a short time ago. He's being charged as an adult with 4 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of terrorism causing death, 7 counts of assault with intent to murder, and 12 counts of possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony.
We're going to kick off our coverage with Mara McDonald at the arraignment that just wrapped up a short time ago. Mara.
Devin, we just ran out of the courtroom, and I can tell you this. We now understand what the Oakland County prosecutor was talking about today when she said that detectives do not believe that this was a spur-of-the-moment decision. Detectives and the prosecutor in the courtroom today detailing how they found cell phone videos as well as a journal from the alleged shooter detailing how he wanted to kill his classmates.
Count 5 alleges that on November 30th, Ethan Robert Crumbley did in the township of Oxford, deliberately with the intent to kill and with premeditation, kill and murder.
Ethan Crumbley appeared from Children's Village and sat there as the judge read the names of those he's accused of killing and wounding. It took a substantial amount of time.
Sir, do you understand all the charges against you?
Yes, I do.
He faces a total of 24 counts. His responses were clear, short. Impossible to see his face because of the mask. His clearly stricken parents appeared in court via video for a moment.
Yeah, correct. That is correct.
Detectives telling the court the accused shooter recorded videos and wrote in his journal about wanting to kill his classmates. They say this was a premeditated attack.
We've had the opportunity to review that surveillance video just this morning. And what's depicted on that video, honestly, Judge, I don't have the words to describe how horrific that was that happened on November the 30th.
Back here live, the prosecutor describing how school video captured what happened and how they say the shooter went into a bathroom with a backpack, dumped the backpack, came out, and immediately started shooting at his classmates. The judge decided just moments ago there will be no bond, and he's being moved from the Children's Village over to the Oakland County Jail. We're live in Rochester Hills right now. Kimberly, Devin, back to you.
Mara, thank you. And from the arraignment, we want to turn now to Local 4 defender Karen Drew.
Karen, let's drill down into these charges that Karen McDonald described earlier for us.
All right, as we had mentioned, there is a whole long list of charges. And as Mara had mentioned, you know, the question of a plan before this event has been made very, very, very clear. And the prosecutor said that by no means was this a spur-of-the-moment decision by any means. This was pre-planned, and that's why this 15-year-old is being charged as an adult.
First-degree murder is the most serious of all those crimes. Second, there are facts leading up in the shooting that suggest this was not just an impulsive act.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald would not elaborate on details, but said her office has a mountain of digital evidence, and the attack at Oxford High School was planned well before it took place.
The investigators and my office will pore through all of those facts. They will make sure that we have left no stone unturned.
The prosecutor explained why the shooter was also being charged with terrorism.
What about all the children who ran, screaming, hiding under desks? What about all the children at home right now who can't eat and can't sleep and can't imagine a world where they could ever foot back in that school?
As for the suspect's parents, police have reported his father purchased the gun used 4 days before the attack. Could they possibly face charges?
So today is only beginning, and it's possible there could be additional charges issued very soon when that investigation is reviewed and complete.
McDonald only mentioned the accused shooter's name once, as she said the victims are the ones who should be receiving the attention.
They were innocent children who went to school. And so we're going to hold the people responsible accountable. And we're going to receive justice for these victims. And hopefully we're going to start a long-going conversation and move the needle on appropriate gun control.
And as we have reported, the suspect in this case not cooperating with authorities. Either are his parents. As the prosecutor said, both parents could face charges. We're live outside of the Oakland County Courthouse. I'm Karen Drew, Local 4.
That is going to be such a fascinating part to watch as this proceeds. All right, Karen. Now, from the Oakland County prosecutor and the charges in the case, let's turn back to the sheriff, who broke down for us some troubling new information as this investigation continues.
Sheriff Mike Bouchard now says the school met with the suspect's parents the day of the shooting. Larry Sproul joins us live now with that part of the story. Larry.
Good evening, Kimberly and Devin. The sheriff says there were two meetings that they now know about. The first one happened on Monday. That meeting was between the school leaders and the suspect. And then the second meeting happened just yesterday. That meeting was between the school leaders, the parents, and the suspect. That happened around 10 o'clock in the morning, just hours before the shooting. Wednesday afternoon, Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard released new details they have learned about the shooting at Oxford High School that killed now 4 students and injured several others. He also updated us about the 15-year-old suspect, Ethan Crumbley, and the amount of bullets he had.
When I said last night that he had 7 rounds left, he actually had 18.
Sheriff Bouchard says his investigators learned there were previous meetings about the 15-year-old suspect.
We have since learned that the schools did have contact with the student the day before and the day of the shooting for behavior in the classroom that they felt was concerning. In fact, the parents were brought in the morning of the shooting and had a face-to-face meeting with the school.
Sheriff says that second meeting happened around 10 o'clock Tuesday morning, and then hours later, the suspect did the unthinkable. Also, Sheriff, we're hearing that he went into the bathroom. He loaded the gun in the bathroom before walking out to shoot. Can you confirm that?
I can tell you he came out of the bathroom with the firearm and began shooting. I can't tell you if he loaded it in there.
And I asked the sheriff several questions. My first question to him was that if they believe that the suspect was bullied leading up to the shooting, he tells me they don't have any proof that that happened, neither from the school leaders as well. My second question was, did he have any mental issues? The sheriff also said no to that question. They don't have any proof that that was the case. My last question to him was that will they have another conversation with school leaders since the school did not inform the sheriff's office about those two meetings? He tells me they will have another conversation with the school leaders very soon. We're live at the Oakland County Sheriff's Office tonight. Larry Sproul, Local 4.
Really interesting developments, Larry. Thank you. Well, tonight, close family, friends of 14-year-old Hannah St. Juliana are sharing their shock and sadness of her passing.
They are remembering Hannah as a sweet kid who joined them on family vacations. Rod Maloney spoke with them at length. Rod, these families were obviously very close.
Unbelievably close, Devin. Now, we're here at Centennial Park, and you can see that the school colors have been put up all over here, along with the Christmas decorations, and that's kind of the theme. Everybody has their Christmas decorations up that we talked to today, and it's such a tragic situation, sort of melding these two things, a time when they were expecting to be happy, and they are not. We knocked on the door of the St. Juliana home, and Hannah's dad answered, and he said, look, I can't talk, and he referred us to their neighbors just around the corner, and we went and talked to them and discovered how close these families were. Hannah not only had one, her family, but she really had two.
Hannah was an amazing, sweet, kind soul.
A wonderful representative of humanity. What humanity should be. That we look out for each other and care for each other.
She was at her heart a helper and a giver.
Only a high school freshman, She's left an indelible mark on the Curtis family. They do Halloween together, vacation up north weeks at a time together. That's Hannah on the left in the shadows.
Hannah and my daughter were floating on rafts and having my son and another friend drag them around on kayaks.
It's nice to watch your kids and the kids that you're close to enjoying life.
There were backyard ball games. Hannah always in the middle. She was a very good volleyball player as a freshman, basketball too. But Hannah's hallmark, compassion.
To be there for a friend, to be there for a neighbor, to be there for a neighbor adult. She was never a kid who would turn down an opportunity to help someone.
The Curtises were with the St. Juliana family at the Myers store yesterday when deputies told them Hannah had been murdered.
Devastating. Absolutely devastating.
Just a big heart and a big life ahead of her.
Snuffed out too early, entirely too early. Now, we did talk to the Curtises about whether, in fact, she knew her attacker. And they say, talking to all of their children, they're all close, they're all friends, they're all in the same school. She said they didn't have any idea who this person was that attacked her. And they're just so deeply saddened and frankly bereft. Back to you.
Rod, talking with these families, we're in a delicate area here. Of course, we know from Sheriff Bouchard's announcement this week that there's at least one, or today, there's at least one family that doesn't want to be contacted by the media. Others do want to talk about their loss and their loved ones. I think you've been reaching out to some of the other families as well.
Right, we have, and in fact I was able to speak to Justin Skilling's family, at least his stepmom, and also his bowling coach. Now we have a picture of Justin that we were just able to get in the afternoon here, the 17-year-old member of the bowling team, junior in the high school, and we're told that his family is in unbelievable grief. They're doing their best to cope with this. It appears that they do want to say something, but certainly not at this time. But the coach is going to be checking with the family to see if he is allowed to talk, and perhaps we'll have a chance to speak with him tomorrow.
You bet. All right, Rod.
Well, the students who survived are sharing the chilling moments as they race to safety.
I heard like a gunshot from behind me, and people are just looking at each other and everyone is just screaming, run.
I just wanted to protect myself. I wanted to protect my classmates.
Kind of like yelled at my teacher, like school shooter, school shooter. He did not even doubt me for a sec.
From running in the hallway to getting behind locked classroom doors, Karen Drew sits down exclusively with two Oxford High School juniors. They share pictures from inside during lockdown and text messages with parents helping them stay safe. As friends of Tate Meir, who was shot and killed, they revealed to Karen what they want the community to know about him and what he would have done for everyone at that school had he had the chance. See her special report coming up, new at 6.
And our coverage of the Oxford High School shooting will continue over this next 90 minutes of news.
Ahead at 5:30, the incredible outpouring of support that began almost immediately after the tragedy. How a small restaurant is doing something special for the community. And then at 6, how rumors and misinformation became so rampant in the moments after the shooting. Also, the safety measures that worked yesterday that may saved countless lives.
Our coverage will continue on clickondetroit.com as well, and there you can find key advice from a child psychologist on talking to your children about what happened yesterday. You'll find a link to that right on our homepage. We got much more to come on what is a very busy Wednesday.
Let's check in with Paul Gross.
Well, thanks a bunch, Kimberly. If you're heading down to LCA, the Seattle Kraken's first ever visit here to town, and temperature is pretty steady around 40 degrees. There are a few drops in the area right now. Those are moving out. By the end of the game, should be dry when you head back to the car. We have a big warm-up tomorrow, but we're going right back down. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
First case of Omicron is confirmed in the U.S. as the situation in Michigan is growing more concerning. I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Ahead, a dangerous new trend and when we'll really start to see the impact of those Thanksgiving gatherings.
I'm Local 4 Defender Sean Lay. We're speaking today with students and had a long conversation with the Oakland County Sheriff describing exactly what they saw in an Oxford High School hallway yesterday.
Gunshots, get out of the building.
Next, vivid accounts to help get a better picture of what happened and if any students were specifically targeted.